Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike, and you are watching and you are listening to episode number 20, the big 20 of the Rock Out Wild Show. That is correct. I started this show on the very first day of January in 2025, and now 20 weeks later, I am still here and I am ready to deliver a show for you all. On the docket, I got on this day for music, um, wrestling, film, television for May 14th, as well as a reaction of an old movie review of mine called The Giver. But the main event of this very show is a game. Now, I haven't reviewed a game before ever, so this is a first. And what better way to review my favorite game of all time is from LucasArts. It came out nearly 30 years ago in 1995, and that is my review for the game Full Throttle. This is something I have been wanting to talk about for a very, very, very long time. So that is going to be on the docket for this episode of the Rock Out Wild Show. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button somewhere down below of this very video. And also you can like this video, you can share it with your family and friends, and spread the word about the Rock Out Wild Show. And let's get right into it with a reaction of an old movie review of mine called The Giver. I sort of vaguely remember this movie. I think it was in black and white, and there were the actors were playing like as if they were robots or something of that nature. It's like they're like blank slates, like mind-wise. I think that's how the movie went, but we'll see what this movie was all about once I get this refresher of this review that I've done over 10 years ago. So let's get right to it. I am going to present, share screen, the Giver movie review, share tab the audio, put this full screen, and let's react in 3, 2, 1, go. You know what this movie was missing? Jasmine. 1,000 points to you if you got that reference. Oh, you know what this movie was missing? Jasmine. 1,000 points to you if you got that reference. I got that reference. Hey, what is up, all movie fans in the movieverse? Welcome to the Mike McRat Movie Review YouTube channel. Right now I'm going to talk about a movie called The Giver, and this movie is about a seemingly perfect community without any war, pain, or suffering, or differences or choices. And this stars a young boy by the name of Jonas who is chosen to learn from an elderly man about the true pain and pleasure of the real world. This stars Jeff Bridges as the giver, Brendan Thwaites as the receiver by the name of Jonas. You also have Meryl Streep in this movie. I thought her role in this movie was okay. It wasn't Oscar worthy, but it was okay. It just felt like she was just there to be a villain. You also have Jeff Bridges as the giver, who I thought was the most interesting character in this movie because of the fact that he's the guy that had to relive everything that the humans do not in this movie. I thought that was really interesting. And you also have Brendan Thwaites as Jonas. He's the guy to be reckoned with, a force to be reckoned with. I see big things for this actor, and I thought his performance was really good as well. So when it comes to the overall acting, I thought it was decent for the most part. You also had Katie Holmes in this movie. That's right. She was okay. You also had Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift of all people. Good Christ. But like I said, I thought the movie had decent acting in it. However, I do feel like the execution of the acting was really off. To me, if you're going to live in a world of utopia, wouldn't you want to have no emotions at all? I mean, I saw a kid laughing in this movie. I saw babies crying in this movie. It was just one of those situations where these people that are acting had to put on performances and try to do a believable job in their characters and their roles. And here I'm thinking, shouldn't they be playing people with no emotions at all? People saying, good day, let's have dinner, let's have lunch, let's go to bed. You know, just play neutral and not trying to portray any characters in their.
I I know exactly what I'm referring to here as I'm watching this. There was a show back in 2009 in 2010 called Dollhouse where people's memories were erased. So they were all blank slates, and that's how they spoke, good day and stuff like that. Anyway, back to this review.
Development. To me, that was really off. The execution,
Right, right,
it was just kind of counterproductive in my mind. So even though I thought the acting was good, it was just counterproductive overall. When it comes to the story in this movie, it was good. I thought it was rushed. Usually that is the case. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I understand usually in books, they're so detailed and they really slowly progress the story sometimes, which is all well and good with books because, there's just so many words and there's so many chapters in a book.
Right, yeah.
And usually that's the way. Usually the book
That usually
really
is.
takes its time into telling the story, and the movie tends to rush. Yeah, this movie was rushed in that sense. This also
Also, I do want to point out movies and books are two separate forms of entertainment. They shouldn't they really shouldn't be compared with each other. To me, that's just I know a lot of people are guilty of it, but there's something I had to point out.
had a very dull vibe to it. Wow.
A
I
very
mean,
dull
I think
vibe.
if this movie was a lot longer than it was, I would be really bored to death. And luckily, this movie was only 90 minutes. It wasn't too long. And I'm glad for that because it did have a dull vibe. But I was really entertained by this movie. There was just something about this movie that kind of feels underrated. I like the whole visual aspect of this movie and the transition from black and white to color. I like the inspirational music in this movie as well as some of the acting, even though I thought it was executed in a counterproductive kind of way.
Right.
So overall, I would give this movie 63 points out of 100.
That's
I just thought that
that's
the
actually kind of
people
fair.
in this movie were very limited to what they were supposed to do in this movie. It was just one of those hit and miss kind of cases. So overall, this was a decent flick. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be,
Right.
nor was it outstanding. It
Right.
wasn't anything special,
Like right
nothing
there
out of
about
the
average.
ordinary. Uh, was there anything about this movie? So I'm kind of neutral, much like the acting should have been in this movie. 63 points out of 100. So, with that being said, if you saw The Giver, what did you think about it? Feel free to chime in and comment below and tell me what did you think about The Giver. And also, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video to get McRocked.
The Giver. I'm waiting for the sequel called The Receiver. I know that was, I can come up with them still. So yeah, that was my reaction to the movie called The Giver. Yeah, I for some reason somehow remember this being an average kind of movie. Yeah, uh, I do. I'm starting to remember some of the aspects in it. With the acting and Katie Holmes and things of that nature. Yeah, nothing overly I wasn't overly enthusiastic about the movie at all, and it didn't seem like I was too bored with it either. Nor did I thought it was a bad movie. It's just right around in the middle. So yeah, that's pretty much The Giver in a nutshell. Now let's get into the usual stuff that we usually see on the Rock on Wild show, and that is what happened on this day on May 14th, 2025. So the first thing I'm going to put up is what happened in film and television for May 14th on this day. The first thing we have that dates back all the way from 1897. Oldest continuously operating movie theater in the world. The State Theater first opens in Washington, Iowa. That's according to the Guinness Book of World Records. In 1938, The Adventures of Robin Hood, directed by Michael Curtiz and William Kingley, and starring Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland, premieres. This is definitely way before my time. That's a movie I wouldn't mind checking out, actually. In 1948, WBEN, now WIVB, TV Channel 4 in Buffalo, New York, begins broadcasting. In 1951, The Ernie Kovacs Show, a television variety program, debuts on NBC TV, kind of like what The Rock and Roll Show is, variety program. In 1964, 17th Cannes Film Festival, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, directed by Jacques Demy, wins the Grand Prix du Festival International du Film. Hopefully I said that all correctly. In 1972, 24th Emmy Awards, All in the Family, Carol O'Connor and Gene Stapleton win. All right. In 1973, French film Day for Night, written and directed by Francois Truffaut, starring Jacqueline Bisset and Jean-Pierre Léaud, premieres at Cannes Academy Award, Best Foreign Language Film, and hopefully, again, I said all that correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. In 1975, cult feminist film, Jean Dielman, 23. Here we go again. Quoi du commerce, 1080 Bruxelles. Written and directed by Chantal Ackerman and starring Delphine Sierg, premieres at Cannes. Again, correct me if I said that incorrectly. Wow, some of these are actually in French. In 1979, Kids Are Alright, documentary film featuring The Who, premieres at the Cannes Film Festival. In 1979, Stalker, Russian film directed by Andrea Travorsky, starring Alexander Kiandovsky and Anatoly Solistyan, is released. Again, correct me if I did not pronounce some of those names correctly. Wow, well, a lot of these, this is hard. Some of this is actually a little bit tricky to read here. In 1989, final TV episode of Family Ties airs on NBC with a 36 million audience. In 1989, Moonlighting TV crime drama last airs on ABC. In 1998, Seinfeld's final two-part episode, the finale, airs on NBC TV to 76.3 million viewers, with commercials priced at $2 million for 30 seconds. And there's a couple here in the year 2000. Taiwanese film by Edward Yang debuts at Cannes. Also in the year 2000, 46 British Academy Awards, television awards. The League of Gentlemen, Best Comedy, The Cops, Best Drama. In 2013, Dan Brown's fourth novel starring Robert Langdon, The Da Vinci Code, titled Inferno, is released and instantly becomes a bestseller. In 2018, Melania Trump, wife of U.S. President Donald Trump, is treated in hospital for a benign kidney condition. Hopefully she is doing good as we speak. And 2 years ago in 2023, the 69th British Academy Television Awards, Bad Sisters, Best Drama, Ben Whishaw and Kate Winslet win Best Acting Awards. And that's all the stuff that happened on this day in film and television. Now let's look at wrestling. Who here likes wrestling? I know I do, and I hope you do too. This is some of the stuff that happened in May 14th on this day in professional wrestling. Here is a picture of Psycho Sid and Kevin Nash right there. Or, in kayfabe in terms, Diesel. So what happened in wrestling in May 14th? Well, in 1990, Ole Anderson replaced Ric Flair as head booker of WCW after Flair repeatedly clashed with Executive Vice President Jim Herd. In 1994, ECW When Worlds Collide took place at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In the main event, Sabu and Bobby Eaton defeat Terry Funk and Arn Anderson. In 1995, the very first WWF In Your House pay-per-view took place in Syracuse, New York. This event marketed the start of WWE moving to a monthly pay-per-view schedule. The In Your House series was originally created at a cut price, shorter 2-hour pay-per-view offering in the months without one of the big 5 events. A competition was run in the lead up to the event where the WWF gave away a house and a prize in Orlando, Florida. Todd Pettengill and Stephanie Wyand showed footage of the home and later handpicked one of the entries. They phoned Matt Papazelli of Henderson, Nevada during the pay-per-view and told him that he and his family had won the vacant home. In the main event of the show, Diesel retained the WWF champion by disqualification against Psycho Sid after a run-in from fellow $1 Million Corporation member Tatanka. Diesel's originally booked opponent for this event was Shawn Michaels. However, he was legitimately injured the night after WrestleMania XI. Diesel also picked up an injury in the match and required surgery on his right elbow. Also on the card, Bret Hart competed twice at the event, scoring a victory over Hakushi in the opening televised match and losing to Jerry the King Lawler later on in the show. Also, Reza Ramon Hey Yo, or Hey Chico, defeated Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie in a 2-on-1 handicap match, and Owen Hart and Yokozuna, that's right, Yokozuna, retains the WWF Tag Team titles against the Smoking Guns, Billy Gunn, and Bart Gunn. Mabel defeated Adam Bomb in a King of the Ring qualifying match as well. In 1998, ECW presented an event titled It Ain't Seinfeld from the Elks Lodge in Queens, New York. This event was notable as the night when Taz introduced the world to the FTW Championship, proclaiming himself as the champion. That's when that title was cool. In the year 2000, at ECW Hardcore Heaven from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Just Incredible. Yikes. Don't get me started on that. Anyway, going back to this, Just Incredible retained the ECW World Heavyweight Championship against his former Impact player partner, Lance Storm, in the main event. This was Storm's last ECW match before he left for ECW. Rhino also retained the ECW World TV Championship against the Sandman. Also, Jerry Lynn pinned Rob Van Dam. Kid Cash defeated C.W. Anderson. Yoshihiro Tajiri beats Steve Corino. Also, Supernova and Chris Chetty defeated Angel and Tony DeVito and Danny Doring and Amish Roadkill in a 3-way dance. In 2005, in the main event of Ring of Honor Nowhere to Run from Chicago, CM Punk defeated Jimmy Rave to end their feud in a steel cage match. Also, Austin Aries retains the ROH World Heavyweight Championship against Bryan Danielson. Matt Sydal defeated Ace Steel, Matt Striker, and the masked Green Bay Superstar in a four-corner survival match. Nigel McGuinness defeated Colt Cabana. Homicide picked up a victory over Doug Williams. And Generation Next Roderick Strong and Jack Evans beat Alex Shelley and Delirious in a tag team match. In the year 2006, Christian Cage retains the NWA World Heavyweight title against the Monster Abyss in a Full Metal Mayhem match in the main event of TNA Sacrifice from Orlando, Florida. In 2007, Shawn Michaels defeated Edge in the main event of WWE Raw from Hampton, Virginia. Also in 2007, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels defeated Raven in a First Blood match at the TNA Impact taping in Orlando, Florida. Also on the card, Kurt Angle defeated Rhino. In 2011, Cliff Compton defeated Mike Mondo for the OVW Heavyweight title in a brass knuckles on a pole match in the main event of the OVW Saturday Night Special in Louisville, Kentucky. In 2018, Kevin Owens defeated Bobby Lashley and Elias in a triple threat main event on WWE Raw from the O2 Arena in jolly old London, England. Earlier in the tapings, Seth Rollins retained the Intercontinental Championship against Owens in the opening match. And there's a couple more. In 2021, ECW mainstay New Jack passed away at the age of 58 due to a heart attack. God rest his soul. And also in 2021, on a live edition of SmackDown from the WWE Thunderdome in Tampa, Florida, new Women's Tag Team Champions was crowned as Natalya and Tamina defeated Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. And we got some notable wrestling birthdays here. We got Matt Cardona, born in 85. Tommy Rogers, born in 1961. Dr. Death Stevie Williams, born in 1960. Also in 1960, Buddy Lee Parker, born on May 14th, 1955. Vader. Robert Fuller in 1951. And Butcher Vachon in 1938. And that's all the stuff that happened on this day in professional wrestling. Now let's look at some of the stuff that happened in the world of music. One of my favorite things to do is listen to music. I do it every day. And now it's time to see what happened on May 14th in the years past in music. On this day, May 14th, 1998, it was the end of an era when 82-year-old Frank Sinatra died at Cedars Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles following a heart attack. God rest you. Known as the chairman of the board and later Old Blue Eyes, the singer and actor was amongst the most popular entertainers in the 1940s to the 1960s. Today, he remains one of the world's best-selling recording artists. Sinatra first rose to fame in 1940 with Polka Dots and Moonbeams and signed to Columbia Records in 1943. During his lengthy career, he placed over 25 top 40 singles, including 1966's chart topper Strangers in the Night. Amongst his many honors, Sinatra won 11 Grammys and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1985. In 2015, legendary blues singer, songwriter, and guitarist B.B. King passed away in Las Vegas at age 89. B.B. King, I gotta say, he lived a good long life. One of the most influential bluesmen and guitarists in history, the Mississippi-born artist, often called the King of Blues, was revered for his innovative style on the electric guitar. Even towards the end of his long and prolific career, the hard-working artist was known to perform more than 200 concerts per year. While his younger day, he could be seen at shows nearly every day of the year. King was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987 and won more than a dozen Grammy Awards. In 1988, Led Zeppelin reunited for Atlantic Records' 40th anniversary party at Madison Square Garden, appearing with drummer Jason Bonham, who stood in for his late father John Bonham. Their second reunion since splitting, the band's performance was disorganized and tense as Jimmy Page and Robert Plant had argued about playing Stairway to Heaven prior to performing. I mean, come on, you don't argue to perform Stairway to Heaven. I mean, that's just a given here. Page described the appearance as one big disappointment, and Plant agreed, noting that the gig was foul. Foreigner, Genesis, Ben E. King, and Wilson Pickett were amongst the other acts taking the stage. I would have loved to see that concert, even if John Bonham was no longer with us. I mean, it's his son performing. In the year 2000, 60-year-old Tom Jones' 34th album, Reload, topped the UK album chart, making him the oldest singer to earn a #1 album with the new material in Britain. The highest-selling album of his career, Reload, featured his dance floor smash with Moose T Sex Bomb, a #3 hit in the UK. In 1983, Spandau Ballet scored their first and only UK #1 album with True. Released on March 4th, 1983, the new wave group third studio album peaked at number 19 on the US Billboard 200, while its title track hit number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. In the year 2002, musical We Will Rock You opened at London Dominion Theatre. A collaboration between playwright Ben Elton and Queen members Brian May and Roger Taylor, the musical is based around the band's songs. It would soon become the longest-running musical at the Dominion. And here is some of the birthdays that happened on this day on May 14th. In 1936, Bobby Darin. Jack Bruce was born in 1943 on May 14th. David Byrne from the Talking Heads in 1952. Danny Wood from New Kids on the Block was born on this day in 1971. Natalie Appleton from All Saints was born on this day in 1973, and she knows where it's at. In 1979, Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys, and in 1996, Martin Garrix. Those are some of the birthdays and some of the things that happened on this day in music on May 14th. And I do believe it is about that time. One more time, I'm going to show this again. And now it is time for the main event of episode 20 of the Rock Out Wild Show. I've been meaning to talk about this game for an incredibly long time. Now, before I actually get into the review, I'm going to share my experience with this game first. I put this game on 2 or 3 cassette tapes just for audio purposes to listen to while you're on the road. Yeah, I'm going back all the way back when there were actually cassette tapes and ghetto blasters and a pair of headphones I used to transfer the audio from the game to a recording on a cassette. I absolutely love this game. I played this game hundreds of times back when I was just a little kid. It's probably one of the first games I've ever played in its completion. And just the experience of playing this game, even though I do get frustrated, and I will talk about that later on, this is what I call a classic. And it's a game called Full Throttle. Full Throttle is a graphic game released in God damn it. I actually almost got choked up talking about this game. Let's do that again. Full Throttle is a graphic game released in 1995 by LucasArts for MS-DOS, Windows, and also the Macintosh. This this game was designed by Tim Schafer. In this game, you play as Ben. He is the leader of a biker gang known as the Polecats in a futuristic post-apocalyptic world. Even though the game doesn't really actually come out and say that uh, it actually comes out and say it's from a post-apocalyptic world, but it is inferred. It is hard to tell what the date of the timeline throughout the game is, but yeah, it does take place uh, in that post-apocalyptic world. You get that vibe from it, and this is what the game is all about. Now, one day, now before I get into this, there's going to be some mild spoilers. I'm not going to go in full heavy spoilers here because I want you to experience, the major plot lines in this game in case if you do want to play it. So there's going to be only a little bit of spoilers, but that's pretty much it. So what's Full Throttle all about? Well, one day, Ben, the leader of the Polecats, and his gang are driving down a highway when Ben, on his motorcycle, jumps on this really expensive hovercraft limo. He rides over top of it and busts off the hood ornaments in a typical rebel fashion. However, little do they know that the owner and the occupant of this limo was none other than Malcolm Corley. Now, Corley is the founder and CEO of Corley Motors. Corley Motors is the last great motorcycle manufacturer on the planet. And instead of being pissed off with the limo, with the ornament, Malcolm is actually a bit impressed with the gang and tells the driver to take a detour to find out where this gang is going and find out who they are. He is interested and wants to hang out with this gang. However, riding along with Malcolm is his right-hand man and vice president of the company, Rip Burger. Rip Burger wants the CEO to get to the shareholders meeting and is kind of annoyed by this distraction and this gang, but maybe Rip Burger will probably make the best of the situation. Now, a little later, Ben meets a mechanic named Marine who agrees to fix his bike after an unfortunate accident that happened on the road. And this starts Ben on this adventure. Now, in typical game fashion, the game has actually stopped. So there's no more dialogue and narration and stuff like that. Now, you have to go from scene to scene, moving your cursor, trying to discover what Ben needs to rebuild his bike. So you have to get certain parts. You have to do some discovering to gain certain items. There's like a fork, a torch, and the other thing is, we got the fork, the forks in the junkyard, the torch in another area, and some gas as well from a gas tower. Now, one of the neat things about this game is that it is just designed for this post-apocalyptic biker world. I love the look of this game to no end. The visuals in this are just the absolute coolest to look at, especially when it came out in 1995. It was actually impressive for when the year it came out. Now, if you hold the mouse down, you can use certain aspects, like to use something to use with your hand or foot to kick something. That's what Ben is known for, to kick doors down. Or you can use your eyes to look at something or to read something or to actually speak to people as well. Now, if you right click, an inventory shows up. of the things you have collected. Really, this whole game is about Ben righting a wrong. And without going into heavy spoilers again here, Ben is trying to make sure a certain thing, this one particular part of the story, does not happen. And I have to say, the story in this game is really, really good. It might be straightforward, but it definitely has some layers to it. And you got to talk about the voice acting here. The voice acting is absolutely tremendous and probably the best aspect of this game. Roy Conrad as Ben is fantastic in this game. He is gruff, he is strong, he's annoying most of the time, but the dude is an absolute badass. And it's a shame, from what I understand, Roy Conrad had passed away years ago, which is unfortunate, but the guy voiced Ben incredibly well here. Like he captured his essence just by the way he even looks. Once you see Ben, you can pretty much tell that the look of Ben matches his voice. And that's the one thing I absolutely love about that character. Plus, they got Mark Hamill to play Ripburger and plays a really, really good bad guy, a really good douche. You love to hate the guy. He's arrogant, and Mark Hamill is perfect in that role. And you also have Malcolm Corley, who has a interesting sense of likability to him and a fun and a charm to him, as well as Marine. Marine is a bit of a mystery, kind of like Ben, also in a way. And the dialogue between Ben and Marine is probably my favorite duo in pretty much anything, whether it's games, film, television, whatever. Marine just has a coolness to her and is really likable. And once you get to know Marine, I won't get into it, but let's just say it gets really good. The game also has great music in it, and it's a courtesy of a blues rock band from San Francisco called the Gone Jackals. Their songs Born Bad, Legacy, Drop the Hammer are in this, and I absolutely love those songs to death. And their songs create a really good vibe to this game. It's great, simple classic rock, and it fits the game really well. When it comes to nitpicks, negatives, there's really not a whole heck of a lot here. Now, the only thing I'll have to say is that the only downside to this game is that it can be pretty hard to spot usable items in the background. Now, I don't know if this is because of the older resolution or if it doesn't give you a lot of feedback on the screen. There were a few times where I actually did not know what to do because I didn't realize that in the fridge in Todd's junkyard, there was something I needed to click on because you just couldn't tell what was there. Luckily, I had someone to point that out for me. And that also feeds into some of the puzzles as well. They are a little bit out there, a little bit far-fetched, just a bit. It did feel a bit weird trying to work your way around them. There's one involving a minefield you have to go through while using these wind-up bunnies. It doesn't make sense when you're doing it, but as you solve it, you can see where it gets you. But there's one puzzle in this game that absolutely aggravated the holy high mother of God heck out of me, that I could not solve it at all, and that was the drag racing scene. The first few times I tried it, before asking what to do in this part, I nearly wanted to throw the game out. It was that bad. It was horrendous that I could not solve this part at all. And I'm not talking negative about the game here. I'm just talking about my frustration with this one particular puzzle here. I mean, the part with the dog and the junkyard getting in the forks was one thing, but the drag racing part is on a whole other level of frustration for me. But luckily, after many attempts at this part of the game, I was able to solve it with some help, and the game got a little bit easier after that. My overall thoughts about 1995's Full Throttle. I absolutely love this game. It's a really funny and well written game. There are some laugh out loud moments in this. with a lot of memorable, funny one-liners. One particular one, I'm not putting my lips on that. And this is what I call a classic game. It's a fairly short game if you are really good at adventure games and you know your way around a thinking puzzle type of game. But if you are new to adventure games with puzzles that are really hard to solve, this game will feel like it will take forever. And I don't hold that against it because of the enjoyment I had playing Full Throttle, even when I get frustrated with it from time to time. But it's all in good fun. Once I completed it the first time, I thought to myself, I am playing this game again. And the amount of times I play Full Throttle, I have lost count. I am going to give this game Full Throttle 9.75 points out of 10. If you played this game, tell me if you did and what was your experience with Full Throttle. And on a side note, and this is related to the game, it will be 30 years this month that this game actually came out. This game came out May 19th, 1995, 5 days before this game uh, celebrates its 30-year anniversary. This episode of the Rock Out Wild Show will be uploaded. That's why I decided to talk about Full Throttle now, because of that 30-year anniversary spot. So that's going to do it for episode 20 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from Perspective of the Day, and it goes something like this: Embrace the blank canvas of new beginnings with an open heart and curious mind. Every dawn brings a fresh opportunity to paint your life with vibrant colors of hope, love, and joy. Trust in the universe's plan for you and believe in the strength within your heart to navigate this exciting journey ahead. Let go of the past doubts and fears and step forward with courage and determination. Embrace the unknown with a sense of adventure, knowing that new beginnings hold the promise of endless possibilities waiting to unfold. Today marks the start of a beautiful chapter in your story, and I believe in your ability to make it shine brilliantly. I am your host, Just Mike. This has been episode 20, another milestone of the Rock On Wild Show. And on a final note, to all of you watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.